Welcome to the class. Today our topic is structures and unions in C program. Well, we have started our journey by learning about the data types. The basic data types are integer, character, float, double. We have practiced some of the problems and some of the known very popular algorithms basing on the basic data types. But at a certain point of time, we realized that a normal variable is not a capable to hold more than one value into it. For example, if you consider a variable x is equal to 10, if you want to change the value of x to 20, previous the value called 10 will be removed. The new value will be updated. So normal variable is capable to hold only one value into it. In some situations like student marks, if you are an intermediate student, then calculating the marks in maths, physics and chemistry is no issue. Some of them you can consider the three variables: marks for maths, marks for physics and marks for chemistry. Then you can add those 3 marks. But now you are entered into your BTech course. Imagine how many subjects you have per semester. At least 8 subjects, 2 semesters, 16 subjects, 16 subjects into 4, 64 subjects you have totally. Maybe labs or theory subjects. To add those all the 64 subjects marks, you have to consider 64 variables as per present knowledge. So subject 1, subject 2, subject 3, and so on, subject 64. Add the marks is subject 1 plus subject 2 plus subject 3 and so on, subject 64. You will get the total marks, which is impractical and which is looking some odd. There should be some ambiguity in this situation. So at the time, we realized that we need to imagine a variable which is having only one variable name, but more than one value has to be stored into a same variable. And we discussed about a data structure called array, which is the first derived data structure. But friends, we observed that all the elements in that array are found to be same data type called integer data type. Of course, in the yesterday's example, in our class, we discussed how to find out mean, standard deviation and variance. In that example, what we found is we need to consider a float array. That means all the elements are float. And previous 2 days back, we discussed about strings. In strings, all the elements are found to be characters. In all these 3 examples, we have more than one element which is stored in a stored under a same variable. But integer array, all are integers. Float array, all are float. Character array, all are characters. That means if you consider each and individually, all are known to be a homogeneous. That means same. Fine. Suppose if you are considering to represent the information related to a book. Suppose if you consider a book can have different items to be represented, like book number, book name, book cost. Likewise, if you consider student details, there will be a student number, student ID, student name, what is the amount of fees paid, like that. If you consider student number, which is to be a integer data type, you consider a student name, which is to be a character or a string data type. We consider a fees, amount of fees paid, which is to be a float data type. That means in order to represent the student data, we need to mix up different data types under a single name. There are some situations like employee also, employee name, number. Name is a string or character data type, number is a integer data type. What is the salary of the employee, which is a float data type. Like book also. These are the situations where you cannot go with only arrays or only float arrays or only a strings. You need to mix up different data types. So the structures can do the part. Unions are also same, which we will discuss later. Now come to definition of a structure. Structure is a collection of different data types grouped together under a single name. Here, and I told you, structure is a heterogeneous, whereas integer array is a homogeneous, all are integers. Float array is also a homogeneous, all are float. Character array is also a homogeneous, all are characters. But structure is a heterogeneous. Here you see int number, char other, float cost. Remember in your mind, one integer data type, one character data type, and one float data type are mixed together and packed. Those three are packed, right? Those three are packed together, and the name is book. The data type name is called book. See, suppose if you consider int x semicolon, what does it mean? X belongs to integer data type. Likewise, you consider double a semicolon. That means what? A belongs to double data type. Likewise, here B, here you imagine, here whatever the double a semicolon, likewise here I have written in a red color, here you see this entire red color, which is packed together, this complete red color is nothing but here I have placed in a horizontally, whereas in your in the previous you have some like vertical representation. Struct book, here struct is a keyword, book is a name of the structure. Name of the structure means name of the data type. Int means data type 1. Number is the identifier for data type 1. Char is data type 2. Other is the identifier for data type 2. Float is a data type 3. Cost is a identifier for data type 3. And all these are packed together with the name called book or struct book. Here, all these are packed, and here B is nothing but an identifier. Try to understand. B is nothing but an identifier for complete this pack. So here double A int X, likewise this complete red pack B, right? And B can able to access elements inside of the packet, right? B can access number, B can access other, B can access cost, right? All these are multiple and heterogeneous. Number, other, cost. You can increase up to your extent, whatever you want. Number, other, cost. All the three can be accessed using a variable called B. B of number, B of other, B of cost. Fine? Right? Now, as I told you, the examples. If you consider a struct employee, int ID can take 4 bytes. So that's why this is 1000 to 1004. Character name, each character take one byte. So here 10 you have. So that's why 1004 to 1014. 10 character elements. Float salary also take 4 bytes. So that's why 1014 to 1018. Each box represents 1 byte. Right? We can go for the simple programming structures. See, we can as usual start with void main bracket start. Here struct student. That means name of the structure is student. That means int number, character name, float fee. As usual, I told you this entire thing is a data type only. S is a identifier, but here here S is called a structure variable, not identifier. S is called structure variable. S can able to access NO, name, fee, like this. How to access? I will show you an example. Simple. This is a simple example, very simple example. Here you see, enter student information. Then scan of first one is number, so that's why %D, comma and S dot NO. Here dot is an operator. Here dot is called a operator. S dot NO. S dot name, S dot fee. Since name is a string data type, %S. Since fee is a float data type, %. Right? Now the same information, whatever we have taken from the keyboard, same information I am printing again. %D comma S dot NO, no ampersand, since you are printing. %S comma S dot name, no ampersand, since you are just printing. There you have reading the elements from the keyboard. Printf %f comma s dot p, since it is a float data. That means what I have done in this program is read the student information and just printing the information. Just printing the information. Now, see here, struct student. Here we have taken yes. We can take here, if you want, you can take s1 comma s2 comma s3. Any number of structure variables you can define for a same structure student. And there is another mechanism like void main struct student int no char name float fee. Instead of declaring here s1 comma s2 comma s3, we can write again a struct student s1 comma s2 comma s3 semicolon. That is also possible. That is also one of the syntaxes. Here s1, s2, s3 are the three variables for a struct student. Same, enter three students information at a time. Here you see. Here I highlighted s1 dot no, s1 dot name, s1 dot fee ampersand. Same values without ampersand, just printing three students details. s1 dot no, s1 dot name, s1 dot fee. There is no ampersand here. Three students details we are taking, we are accepting from the keyboard, and three student details we are printing. Now the difference. Here comes into picture, the difference comes into picture here. See the s of 3. This s is not a normal variable, which is a, anyone say what is this s? Anyone can reply.
Structure variable.
Sorry?
Structure variables.
Yes, a structure variable. Here if you see, in these examples, s1 and s2, s3 are the normal variables. Here s3 is a structure variable. So we can able to access number, name, fee using structure. So that's why here your dream can fulfill. Number, name, fee of a first student. Number, name, fee of a second student. Number, name, hello. See, number, name, fee of a second student. Number, name, fee of a third student. Likewise, you can have all your 66 students. Start from number 1 to start from 66. If you change here 3 to 66, all your student information can be accessed. Here, I think we know that if you are dealing with arrays, for loop is very, very important. Not important, for loop is required, mandatory to read the elements from the keyboard, to print the elements. For loop is required. But here you observe, not s dot no, s dot name, s dot fee. S dot NO, S dot name, S dot fee. S dot NO, S dot name, S dot fee. We changed it. SI dot NO. Here I means runs from 1 to 3, first student to the third student. Right? All your 66 students data can be taken from the keyboard and which can be printed. Can scanner, can print. Right? This concept is called array of structures. Now we can able to write a program which can take the student, all your student details. First year BTech IT students data can be taken through the keyboard and which can be printed using array of structures. Here I given an example for 3 students. This concept is known to be a array of structures. Here only 3 students data I given an example, but you can extend it up to 66. See the difference where we started. We started with a single variable here S, and remember that yes, the accessing of the data through the structure variable is possible only by using a dot operator, right? And friends, if you want to take a pointer variable also, no problem, right? We can take a pointer variable also to represent the structure data. You can consider the pointer variable. If you want to consider a pointer variable, you should not use this dot operator. You have to use this arrow operator. Right? You can use a pointer variable as a structure variable to represent, to access the elements inside of a structure using a normal variable, array variable, pointer variable also. Yes, friends. And if it is a normal variable, then dot operator is sufficient. Dot operator is sufficient to access the elements. Right? This is a simple structure. Multiple variables. That means 3 students data. But we are not satisfied with this array of structures. This is the most important one. To access the elements of a structure using an array variable. So it is a It is the concept called array of structures. Yesterday we have seen that we can pass an array to a function as a argument. What is the example we discussed in the class? We can pass an array as an argument to a function.
Standard deviation, sir.
Yes, good. What is the array name we have taken yesterday? Do you remember the name of the array we have taken? Okay.
Calculate SD.
That is the function. That is the function name. Calculate SD is the function name. What is the argument we have passed to the calculate SD?
Data, sir.
Sorry?
Data, sir.
Data, yes. But that data is a array variable. Am I correct?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, that data is a array variable. So that data we are passing as an argument to a function calculate SD, which is a user defined function. Is it clear? Now I want to pass a structure as an argument to a function. So I don't want to confuse you much. So that's why I have taken a simple example. Take this struct student char name 50 int age. Only 2 items are there. Now here we can write the struct student as outside of the main also, and struct student s1. Here I am creating a variable. This is one mechanism. We can have a variable here also. This is one way. Variable you can create as at the time of definition of a structure, and you can create it in the main also. Right? Now enter student name s1 dot name, enter age s1 dot age. Only 2 items, name and age. Now display of s1. Display is a user defined function. S1 is a structure variable which I am passing to a function. Then what it will happen? You can write this display at here main itself, no problem. But in order to understand how to pass a structure variable as an argument to a function, I have taken this example. So now void display struct student s. S is a formal variable. Here s1 is an actual variable. The information is s dot name, s dot age. Previously, this s dot name, s dot age also considered inside of a main itself. Right? I hope you understood. Previously, s dot name and s dot age are placed in main itself. Now, to understand, just I have considered a function called display and passed this s1 to a display, and I have written this display as a separate function. Just I am printing in display function. This example can able to understand how a structure variable can be passed as a argument to a user defined function. Hope you understood.
సార్ ఒక్కసారి మళ్ళీ చెప్తారా సార్?
Yes. Actually, we can neglect these 2 lines and imagine display is not there. Imagine display is not there. Assume display is not there. This is the actual way we are doing. Enter name s1 dot name, enter age s1 dot age. Display is not there. Name is s1 dot name, age is s1 dot age. This is what we are doing. But instead of doing like this, what I am doing is I am considering a function called display and passing this s1 to the display, and it's the same 2 letters, 2 lines I am writing in a function. These two lines, whatever we have written here, those two lines we are considering in a display function. So data will be accepted to the keyboard here, will be printed at there as a separate function. Printing, in order to print, I have considered and one more function. That's it. Friends, suppose I am considering employee data. Employee may have address. If you are giving a job to any employee, the employee address you should take. Address. Employee name is necessary. Employee age is also necessary. Right? These are all the three items under structure called employee.
Okay, sir.
Hello? But under address, there were some fields like country, city, street, and address field. So inside of the employee, there is a one more variable called address, which needs some more fields. So we can define a structure inside a structure. So for address, we can have country, city, street, and other fields. So address is itself working like another structure, right? So in order to do that, we need to declare a structure within a structure that is called complex structure. So suppose I am considering here struct employee. There is a first field called address, second field called name, third field called age. Now I am declaring a variable EMP for employee. If you want to access the name, it is okay with emp.name. But if you want to access the country, you need to do emp.add.country. If you want to access age, then emp.age is okay, because which is a direct variable. But if you want to access street, we need to emp.add.street. The structure variable for address data is add. The structure variable for employee data type is emp. This is the way to access the elements in a complex structure. A structure within a structure is called a complex structure. Now come to union. Instead of a variable called struct, we need to use a variable called union, union, union. Everything syntax is same. Then what is the difference? We can see here. Suppose if you consider a struct SS, int A, float B, char C. One byte of memory is allocated for a character, 2 bytes of memory for an integer, 4 bytes for a float, total 7 bytes in the case of structure. But in the case of union, only 4 bytes will be allocated. Right? What is the maximum among 1, 2, 4? 4. That will be allocated in the case of union. But in the case of structure, the sum of the, that means every data type individually have its own memory in structures. But in union, all the data types will share the same memory, 4 bytes. Only one member is active at a time. Suppose float is active, all the 4 bytes of memory will be utilized. Suppose character is active, only 1 byte among the 4 bytes is active. Suppose integer A want to access, then 2 bytes among the 4 bytes will be active and which is used. That means unions are concept called memory management. Unions we use for a memory management. In the case of structures, total memory required by the all members is allocated. If one member requires some memory, which is allocated. If another member is required some memory, which will be allocated. Likewise. In the case of unions, which is not possible, right? Only one member is active at a time. That is the difference between structure and union. But the remaining syntax, everything is same. Instead of the keyword called struct, and I would like to mention here, struct is a keyword. Union is another keyword. If you are using unions, you need to apply, you need to use a keyword called union instead of struct. So if you are using a union, then here 10 bytes of memory is enough. 10 bytes of memory, because which is the maximum. Remaining everything will be work like a structures only. In the case of unions, same hello world union, same multiple variables, everything is possible in unions also. This may show what is the difference between structure and union.